Hey, YouTube, B2 Finger with a quick update on the amp. The last 3 days, I built 3 different single transistor boost circuits for the amp, and none of them worked. 2 of these layouts have been removed from the internet. I found them in my old folder, and they were removed because they're bad layouts. They just don't work. They don't say verified. Anytime you see a layout and it doesn't say verified, there's a huge chance that it doesn't work. So, one of these layouts was a guy who I built 2 of his layouts that haven't worked. And, I got really burnt out on Vero and I started building PCBs and I've had really good luck with that. Up until like 2 years ago, and it was like I was cursed. So I'm playing this violin. It was 3 days in a row, 3 circuits that didn't work. And it wasn't because of bad part or our error. Our work was flawless. And I remembered one of them. This is the 3rd time I fucking built it, and it doesn't work. It's a bad layout. So I can go on and turn this into a thing. My Easter Sunday, the landlord came and yelled at me for 45 minutes because I fixed the heat. And it's fixed that it's on, but you can't shut it off. The thermostats don't work. He needs to call a guy to fix whatever's wrong with it. It's above my pay grade, and I was able to get the heat to come back on for everybody, and then we would manually shut it off. And it was 40 degrees, so we turned it on, and then they freaked out at 10 o'clock in the morning thinking it was going to get too hot because they were playing with their thermostat next door, and they called him. So he came here on Easter Sunday, woke me up, and yelled at me for like 40 minutes straight. And he was nuclear mad at me, and he was saying like I was the only one that had a key, and I'm like, well, I got my key from you, you know, and I unlocked it. The door was unlocked. Anytime there's anything wrong with that heater, I leave it unlocked. Because if the repair guy comes, I don't want him banging on my door. I want him just to be able to get in there, you know. That's the first thing I do. And I make sure that it's unlocked. So he was just trying to keep finding things to yell at me about. And I wasn't having it. And then I asked him, well, when are you going to have a tech come out and fix it? And then he went super nuclear. Then today, that was just the other day, Easter morning. And then today at 9:10, the fire alarm truck guy comes here and sets off the main alarm. He's testing. He comes once a year to do this, and it's so unbelievably loud. These klaxons with this strobe light, and the cat freaks out, and then I freak out because I think maybe it's a real fire. Because we've had them here. We've had real fires because of tenants. We have really bad tenants in this building. Right now we have an overweight woman and her son, and she's screaming constantly, screaming. And he's real fat, and he just running up and down the stairs and buzzing the buzzer and screaming for his mom constantly. And they go out to eat for every meal. There is so much activity in this building. There's another woman with 2 children under the age of 5, and there's a boy is like he's I don't know 1.5. He's screaming all the time, constantly in the hallway. They hang out in the hall, the common area, all the time. And she's constantly peeling in and out of here. It's this is a horrible place to live. It really is. And that whole thing with those alarms going off and waking up and getting screamed at and all that. And like I'm the only one that ever does anything as far as cleaning around here or fixing stuff. So the landlord normally loves me, but he's got a horrible temper, and he's an Indian guy, so he doesn't like to pay me for any of the work that I do. He just yells and screams at me. So that's the situation. I had a bad couple of days, and then these circuits not working. I'm really down in the dumps. I really am. I was over at somebody's live stream today in the comments section. It just went in the toilet, and I'm like, this is the guitar community. These are the guys that I'm my peers, you know. making dildo jokes. Just like one of the things he said was, tone dildos are a real thing. And I said, yeah, they're all here commenting right now. I made another comment. I said, the best guitar amplifiers are the ones that need servicing all the time. Right, Brad? So, anyway, sent some good vibes my way. I'm going to build the AMZ MOSFET boost. I got my BS170, my 1N4739, 9.1 volt Zener diode, or do you say Zener? And it's, like I said, I used to have all these like standards. Like, if it's got an LM386, I ain't building it. If it's got stand-up diode, stand-up resistors, I ain't building it. If it's got JFETs, I ain't building it. If it's got a charge pump, I ain't building it. If it doesn't say verified, I ain't building it. You know? And then I was buying PCBs and those fire up for me. Pretty good. Or if I got a troubleshooter, I can usually figure out what's going on pretty quickly. But working with her, with my partner, the window for error is rapidly diminishing. So if I put power to the thing and I don't get signal, I know that I'm toast. That's not a good feeling, you know. We had one bad. I say we hand test all the components. She didn't test the multi-layer capacitors, the low value ones. She said the meter doesn't work well on them. Well, meter doesn't work well on them because it's probably a bad capacitor, because we had one today and I replaced it, and I got it to pass some signal, but it still wasn't up to snuff. So it was a boutique NPN OD version 2 of the Smalley NPN boost, and then version 1. The layout where the guys are standing next to the energy drink, which I don't know how many times I got to get burned by the same layouts to remember that they're bad. And they've taken 2 of them down. But the other thing is trying to slap clipping diodes on a single transistor boost. There isn't enough gain to clip them. That's why when you see clipping diodes, there's an op amp. So if you're going to try to make a clean boost dirty, start with an overdrive that has more than one, or like 3 or 4 transistors, and then some clipping diodes, or better yet, an op amp, and then have those diodes switchable. Don't do it the other way around and take a simple clean boost and think you can tack some clipping diodes on and make it into an overdrive. Because you might be able to get away with blinking some LEDs, but it's going to sound terrible. There just isn't enough gain. I mean, if you put 2 of those in series, but then at that point, it's like you're better off just starting with a workable overdrive, you know. And there's overdrives out there that clean up, that do clean boosts. The Tube Screamer does that. So it's just one of those things. I mean, like, I am thinking, okay, put a COT 50 in it, put a clean boost, and then the Angry Charlie, and toggle Angry Charlie. You know, have them all bypassable. And then it's like, okay, there's 21 control switches, pots, and on the front of the amp, and it's only a little box. It's a small thing. I can't have 21 things on it. So I'm building that AMC MOSFET boost. There's going to be a single toggle in between those two. The MOSFET boost is 1 knob, so I'm adding 2 controls to it. If I don't like the way the clean channel sounds, I can slide a Fetzer valve in there, which is it's like a 4-component with a JFET, and it's supposed to sound Fender-ish and give you that bright thing. So I'm going to proceed as is. I'm not sure about the Angry Charlie, which I bought to replace the Thunderbird, because the Thunderbird draws too much current. for a battery amp. And the Angry Charlie has a real lot of gain, but I don't think it gets clean. I don't know until I build it. And I've got time. I'm waiting for the PCB and the parts to come. So in the meantime, I'm building a clean boost so I can have that on the other side of the bypass switch. So I don't have to jerk a bunch of controls around to level match when I go from clean to dirty. Like if I just had a bypass on the other side of that Angry Charlie, I'd have to keep the master volume in the Angry Charlie really low, and I don't want to. You know, I like that gain staging. So I'm going to be able to pull this off. It's not a big deal. I'm using shielded wire for the entire signal path, which is a pain in the ass and it adds to the build time, but it adds to the quality of the signal. And this is a no compromise type of operation. You know, when I first started doing this stuff, I would build stuff and you'd get a kick out of it, and oftentimes I wouldn't box it up. You know, some of it is just like, A lot of the DIY stuff is like that. And then there's stuff that I consider good, and then I'll box that up. So at a certain point, you know, my fascination with it, I like to build and have it work. I don't like to fuck around because I have this horrible back pain. So that's what's been going on in the past couple of days. It sucks. I'm like this big right now. I'm at a real low point. So send me some good vibes. And I know that this is all going to work out. I know I'm going to move on. I'm going to get past this amp. I'm going to be making music outdoors with Compty. We're going to be jamming again. And everything's going to be wonderful. And then next year is going to roll around and I'm going to build this Tweed amp. Oh my God. It's a Benson preamp. And maybe I'll do a Fetzer valve. Probably not. I got to look at it. I got to look. Does it have something in there? If not, it'll be a Fetzer valve going into the Benson, going into the power amp. But the chassis is weird. And I'm going to have to stack these batteries on these sliding trays. And I got to figure out how to wire that. I think I'm going to use banana plugs with little wires. You can pop those out, slide these trays out. So I'm sure there's something I haven't foresawn in that design, some fatal flaw that'll ruin everything. Anyway, you guys take care of yourselves. Please send me some good vibes. I should be back soon. Hopefully it won't be another snack time video. Me eating Flamin' Hot Cheetos or something. Something good like an amp demo. How does that sound? Take care of yourselves. Hug your pets. Oh, poor Kita. Today when that fucking klaxon was going off. When the strobe and shit. And I kept telling him all day, Kita, do you remember? Woo? Woo? And he would look at me. He remembered. He was terrified. Peace.